Julia Grayling is awesome. That's all capitalized, awesome. O-R-S-U-M. Awesome. Totally amazing. As far as I'm concerned, she's swimming upstream while so many other singer-songwriters are swimming in the same direction downstream in shallow, safe waters. Julia, who's based in Phoenix, Arizona, and her songs are raw, honest, edgy, and straight from the heart. Often a broken, angry heart. And I feel so sad because I can't imagine Julia ever having a broken heart. She's just too gorgeous for that. But that's a sexist statement, and I don't give a crap. Julia connects with her fans through social media, sharing the ups and downs of her life, courageously honest. And that's exactly how she also connects with them through her music. And before I chat with Julia, which we're doing via Skype, by the way, she's a little under the weather. So she's got a sexier voice today. She's got a sexy voice to start with, but she's got a throatier voice today. That's not her normal sound, but she's coming from her sick bed. But before I chat with her, let's listen to my absolutely favorite Julia Grayling song, which won her the Songwriter Universe Best Song of the Month contest and was subsequently released as a single. Just have a listen here to Julia singing All Tied Up.
Barely there in this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends. When you scream, I wanna run. I'm spilling coffee on the rug, and when the morning turns to dust, I never loved you all that much. So I open up my eyes and I realize I'm always all tied up. I'm all tied up. You're cracking up, I'm wearing down. You're wearing me like I'm a crown, like I'm some metal you deserve. I press my hands against the glass, against the world that moves too fast, and lay my head down in my lap. This moment's cold, this moment's fast. So I open up my eyes and I realize I'm always all tied up. I'm all tied up. I'm all tied up. I'm here again. I raise my hands, I raise my voice. Will I start to rust? Lying here collecting dust. Am I always this way? Am I always this afraid? I'm all tied up. I'm all tied up. I'm all tied up. Barely here, you're barely there. In this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends. Barely here, you're barely there. In this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends. Barely here, you're barely there. In this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends. Barely here, you're barely there. In this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends. Barely here, you're barely there. In this living room we share, but stand on opposite ends.
I love the way the song is just you and a guitar, and then it becomes a huge production. I mean, it was produced by Christopher Ting, who did a Phil Spector Wall of Sound job on the song. But it's like you're slowly smouldering and then become a blaze. It really, really works. Were you really thrilled with the way this all came together?
Yeah, I really was. I mean, it's so interesting to see how these songs turn out. I mean, I wrote this in my old apartment, just me and a guitar, and then spent, a year playing it before I ever recorded it. So, once I got with a couple of my old band members and we went to the studio and recorded it with Christopher Ting, it kind of just exploded.
Do you get what I mean, with the Phil Spector touch? I mean, he's really given it a wall of sound, hasn't it?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And I can imagine when you wrote this, you're just thinking to yourself, guitar, voice, and you can't really picture always. And I know that you drive around, you just pick up your bloody phone and you start singing into it just out off the cuff, and that becomes a song. Is that pretty correct?
Yeah, a lot of what I write actually happens in the car. I don't know why. It's just, my mind is kind of, clear. I'm driving, I'm going somewhere, and then I have an idea. But it could happen anywhere. It's happened at parties, my house, shower. I mean, it just kind of, it happens when it wants to, and it's not something that I usually push.
So I got to ask you something. You just said something. All of us who are tone deaf and can't sing or know. I mean, my neighbour's got a petition up to stop me shouting because I sang in the shower. When somebody has such a fabulous voice like you and you sing in the shower, do you sound like crap to yourself because the rest of us sound so good? Or do you just sound awesomely awesome? I mean, how does it sound to a professional in the shower?
Yeah. It sounds pretty good, It's still my favorite place to sing. I prefer singing show tunes in the shower, but
Well, you did impress me because you put out I've watched all your videos, and you did a video singing not in the shower. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you were doing something pornographic, but you were singing in the bathroom, I should say, which was amazing. The acoustics were great.
Exactly. Everybody sounds better in the bathroom. It's just the way it is.
I know. So you grew up in Chicago and you started writing songs, my God, the first year of teenagerdom.
Yeah.
Did it help that your dad, Phil Lacafo, was an original member of the rock band Hartsfield, and was there any influence there?
Yeah, that was a biggest influence. I mean, I grew up in such a musical household. I was around it constantly from, when I was a toddler. My dad was still playing in the band, and I would just watch them. We'd go to their shows, and I'd have the tambourine, and it wasn't even that it was pushed on me or anything. It's just something that I naturally took to, and I started picking up the guitar, as a kid, and my dad would kind of show me a few chords here and there, and eventually I just kind of started doing it on my own.
Was it cool? I'm not going to sort of belabor this point, but it's something. My daughter has always found me to be a huge embarrassment because of, firstly, the way that I dress, and secondly, the fact that people do come up to me and talk to me and say, I start conversations with people. I'm theatrical.
Right.
You surely weren't embarrassed seeing your dad doing what he was doing? I mean, you must have been. Were you impressed, or did you have that childish kind of, sort of embarrassment at times?
You know what? No, not when, especially when it came. I mean, everyone's kind of embarrassed of their parents at times, but even now, sorry, mom and dad. But when it came to music, my dad was a total rock star. Everyone was like, "That's your dad? He shreds." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I know."
That's right.
So I like to show him off.
I know, and I'm assuming this was through your dad's influence. You did listen to the classic rock music. I mean, you listened to the Beatles, people like Fleetwood Mac, but you and I both have a band that we really both like. I love them, and that's the Decemberists.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking last night I had to play this when I play this once a month, I'm sure. I was playing my favourite Decemberists track, which is Engine Driver. And you have a kind of Decemberists Cyndi Lauper thing going on for me. And I can easily hear you singing in Engine Driver. You know, do you know what I mean? Have you been likened to a Decemberist Cyndi Lauper thing before?
I've had the Cyndi Lauper. No one's ever said I sounded like the Decemberists, but it would make sense if I did in a way. I mean, I've been listening to them since I was 15, and they've been one of my favorite bands for years, you know, and still are. So, you know, I think maybe like, you know, their songwriting it's very much so like storytelling, and I'm really about that. So that I think was a big influence on me as far as, you know, the Decemberists. But I do get Cyndi Lauper all the time too. I didn't listen to a ton of Cyndi Lauper growing up, but you know, I'll take it.
You know, what's weird is because talking to you, I adore your voice. You know, there are and people who listen to the show and people who are on this show hear me saying this constantly. There's this thing going on which I think started probably on the West Coast with a tinge of Australia, where a lot of women, guys as well, talk with a higher pitched voice. The end of every sentence sounds like it's a question. You've got this really serious, really great talking voice. When you sing, it goes up several octaves, which I think is very cool. I adore your singing voice, but it's an amazing metamorphosis that your singing voice is so different to your talking voice.
Yeah.
Is that just a natural singing voice, or did you develop that?
You know, I gotta think it's natural. I've never, I'm not trained. I feel like I sing the way I talk. Like when I talk, not that they sound the same, but when I talk, it just kind of happens. And singing for me is kind of the same thing. It's just, that's what it sounds like. There's no part of me that's trying to sound like anything when I'm singing, you know? Yeah.
I mean, your singing voice is, the only word that comes to mind to me is infectious.
Well, thank you.
I've always been turned on by that kind of voice. It's natural. It's not forced. And you answered the question the way I hope you answered it. Because I don't necessarily like trained voices. I like everything natural. You know, I mean, everything I've ever done hasn't been trained. It's been accidental, and people say it sounds like it is as well. But you've had some interesting contacts. I mean, your travels brought you into contact with some nifty people. For example, you spent 3 months in France working on your album with 18-time Grammy-winning producer James Sanger. Not only is he an 18-time Grammy-producing winner, he's won, I don't know, from top of my head, I remember the Ivor Novello Award, which is a big deal in the UK. He's a Brit as well, and all kinds of things, at the Vibi Studios in France. Now, these studios, folks, were originally built as a monastery for a local baron in the 12th century. This place looks fabulous, but it looks like to me, it looks like it's located in Normandy just because of the style of it.
Yeah, you're right. It's in Normandy.
It is in Normandy.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so proud of myself.
Well done.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Normandy, but I know what the building is.
Normandy's beautiful. So I lived there for 3 months, yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, what the hell was it like living in this place? How did you ever leave there?
I know, right? It was amazing. I mean, we worked hard for 3 months on this album, so I was pretty consumed by that. But we got out a little bit. I saw some cool things, and I do like France a lot. So Normandy was beautiful. People were really, really, really nice.
Was your first single, Shallow Heart, recorded there?
Yes.
And was Everything I'm Playing Today recorded in France?
Yeah, everything I sent you is off my new album, which we're calling Talking Crazy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Talking Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's so inappropriate because you do not talk crazy.
I see. I was thinking it was totally appropriate.
No, it should be called... I don't know, honest breakup love song album. I don't know. Anyway, listen, before we move on to this, I have got to let everyone listen to Shallow Heart. So we're going to play that now, folks.
Baby, love it when you tell me that it's over. Wanna hear the words, so moving closer. Know that I am not hurting. Never saw the point in feeling low. would tell me that you see my point and I'm not crazy. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not wasting the precious time I have, 'cause I've got one life. Our youth runs out too fast, so slow it down, please. While I'm young, still young, too young. And you might see it differently. But love, that's fine by me. Shallow heart, I will never fall.
So that was Shallow Heart. To me, it seems a complete diversion from your other work, as it's got a pure pop song vibe. The lyrics are still truthful, but it's got a complete upbeat tempo, and yet it's a breakup song. How do I get my head around this? Because this is different, isn't it?
Yes. Shallow Heart is my very, pop hooky kind of song. But yeah, a lot of the rest of the album, and we did go pop electronic route, which is really cool, and I'm really happy we did.
Yeah.
But a lot of the album still kind of has that like eclectic kind of weird, raw, indie kind of a thing,
That's why I played the other song first, because I didn't want to start off with this song. But this is the first song I heard from you, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. But I heard your voice, and I just thought, I've got to go a bit further than this. You had a very tough breakup when you found, and I'm not saying anything here that's secret because you've written about it extensively. You had a very tough breakup with when you found your boyfriend cheating on you. What an a-hole! I mean, how can any guy cheat on you? Folks, you just got to look at her again. A sexist remark, but you don't break up on this girl. No way. But being hurt and angry and down has its own inspiration for your creative juices to flow. It's an outlet for venting your pain, or as you put it, depression equals new songs. So was this album influenced by the breakup?
Not this current breakup.
Oh.
A lot of this album I wrote, some of the songs are pretty new. Some of them I wrote years ago. So we've got a little bit of both. They're inspired by different relationships and breakups. But nothing on the album was inspired by this recent, dude. So
tell me the inspiration by Hypocrite.
Hypocrite kind of is another one of those that just happened. It started out as words and then kind of went into a story describing, a little bit about me and kind of who I think I am, which can, oftentimes be hypocritical. I hate to say it, but it's true. But it had a lot to do with, a friend wanting to be more than a friend as well. And then treating me, in a negative way because I didn't want to be more than that.
So many of us understand that. This is the great thing about your music, because you are singing about stuff that so many people identify with but can't articulate, that they can play your album and say, or play your music and say, she's been there. This, they play it when they're going through this experience. Let's play a bit of this.
Most of the time, but I'm a hypocrite. Think of me as someone you just passed by. You haven't met me yet. Don't you dare say I'm a mess. I'm just falling. Watch me as I land on my feet, gently as I can, while you slip and slide and grasp with your ghostly hands. I will always land on my feet. I believe that you are jealous and upset that I don't wanna wear your heart or be your girl. Cast a spell, I'll be the witch. I always play the villain. I'm so damn good at it. Don't you see where I'm coming from? No one
So that's Julia singing Hypocrite. Your songs have a distinct moodiness to them, but then they pick up with a catchy orchestration infused with brutal honesty. Are you that honest as a person?
Yeah, I'm an open book. It's good though, because I don't want to lie when it comes to music, and so being an open book and being really honest as a person, I mean, it just makes me more comfortable to write songs about it. It's like, what do I have to hide, really?
I wonder if that's going to be a turn-off for some people, because if you get into a relationship with someone and they think, oh shit, if I really screw up with her, this is going to be in the next song.
Yeah, everybody thinks that, and that's because it's true.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, what can I do? It's, that's what I do, so.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad thing. There's an initial innocence to your voice, but then once we hear the sharp-edged lyrics, we know you're not somebody to be pushed around. Mm-hmm. And I love the He Said video. You have so much attitude in that. You got that attitude in life? Because I don't think you do.
I'd like to say I probably do.
I mean, I'd love it if you said you did, because I love attitude. I love that video, and I got to ask you that I'm into we have fashion on this show, and I'm seriously into fashion. Those sunglasses, I want them.
Aren't they great?
I framed it to try to figure out the exact styling. Where
Amazon.
the hell did you find those?
Literally Amazon.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was on Amazon.
Awesome.
I put sunglasses when those guys came up. I'm like, that's very necessary. I need that.
Those glasses make it. Those glasses, I've never seen a fashion accessory so perfect on a video. You nailed it with those.
Thank you.
I have to tell you that. You'll talk to me about He Said in a minute. Let's play a bit of it.
It doesn't make no sense to bottle it up. And if you like to run away, make sure you don't fall down. I never tell myself no lies. I just don't speak at all. If you wanna try, then baby, come on. He said, I don't make excuses for girls who can't love. He said, if you wanna leave, then baby, go on. He said, I'm done. He said, I'm done. It doesn't make no sense to feel like I'm crushed. I never tried to be my best. You'll never break my spell. I haven't had the slightest clue who you think you are. If you wanna try, then baby, come on. He said, I don't make excuses for girls who can't love. He said, if you wanna leave, then baby, go on.
So he said. Did he say?
He did say.
He did say this this sounds like a conversation.
He said he was done. This is, yeah. Well, to be fair, who I wrote this about, he was a pretty nice guy. There's a line in there that says, I don't make excuses for girls who can't love.
I know.
And there's truth to that. It's not that I can't love. It's like that I wasn't loving, And so it's like, it was one of those things where like, it kind of made me look at myself like, maybe I should be alone. Maybe I shouldn't be trying to be with somebody because it could be wasting their time, yada, yada, yada. And that's kind of where that song came from.
Well, let's talk about this little trip you did while you were in France. The city girl with attitude in France, in the countryside. She nipped over to the UK. She stands in front of Queen Victoria's memorial with Buckingham Palace behind her, wearing a Grateful Dead T-shirt. What a bloody American.
It's so true. Yep.
I love that photograph, but I've got to ask you, you are the only person I have ever spoken to in all the years I've lived in the United States who has gone to Bournemouth.
Really?
I used to spend every summer holiday, my dad used to rent a house in Bournemouth. What the hell were you doing in Bournemouth, girl?
Well, kind of weird how this all happened, but I started dating somebody who lived in England, met him here in the States, and then I ended up going to France. So we were like, what do you know? So eventually I kind of, I hit him up and I was like, I kind of got to leave the countryside for a second and like go do something, to kind of get my inspiration back.
Yeah.
And he had a family that had a place in Bournemouth. So that's where I went. That's the first place I went to in England.
Did you like it?
I did. Yeah, I really liked it.
Was he an English guy?
Yes.
See, English guys are nice. They don't.
Yeah, they're very nice. He's the nicest person. Nope.
They don't break up. Once you got an English guy, you're stuck with them for life. See, that's what my wife did. She was a hot-looking American girl, and she could have had anyone on the planet, but she went with me simply because I was an English guy, and she knew that I was normal. Then she married me, and she couldn't figure out what the hell she was thinking. I got her drunk. That's what happened. I got her drunk. So Blue is a song of what might have been, right?
Yeah, you know what? Blue actually is not even taken from personal experience. I wrote Blue literally because I went to the gas station one day and there were like 5 blue cars there. And I'm like, that's odd, all these cars are blue. And then it kind of hit me like the first couple line, of the chorus. And then that's it. Just started writing from it.
So you weren't actually in a blue mood. You were just seeing blue. Yeah. You were seeing blue. I love this. Let's just play some of Blue. So that's Julia Grayling, my guest today, having been inspired by being in a gas station, seeing nothing but blue cars. If you bump into Julia, you got to be careful what you say, what you're driving, what you're thinking, because you're prolific, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
I'm going to close out our chat when we end this chat with AM here, PM there, which to my mind is the most beautifully produced and most poetic of all your songs. I'd like to know what the story behind that was.
AM Here, PM There was about my long-distance relationship with the guy who lived in the UK.
What a great segue.
So that's what that was about. And I wrote that before I'd gone to France, when I was still in the States. And we were kind of, I'm trying to figure out when we could Skype each other with our weird times and And that song just kind of happened.
What's the story with this album? Does it have a release date?
We're releasing them kind of one by one. So half of it right now is on SoundCloud. You could download it. And then we've got about like 4 more songs that we're kind of in the works of mixing and mastering, and then it'll all be done.
If people want to check you out, they go to Facebook and they look up Julia Grayling Music.
That's correct.
Julia, because my audience is a bit slow. Some of them they're all over the world, but they're a bit slow. They don't have to. Listen, folks, it's Julia Grayling, Grayling Music. Of course, I'm not with Julia, so I don't have the opportunity to have yet another photo with somebody stunning. But I do have a photo she sent me. Oh, I've got to ask you about that photo. We've got to just touch on fashion again. Those shoes are rocking shoes. Do you know whose shoes they are by any chance? I love them.
Are they the black ones?
Yeah.
Oh, H&M.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I love you for all this stuff. You're buying clothes the way I like people buying clothes.
Yeah.
And those pants you're wearing, what are they? I'm not sure if they're pants or tights. I'm doing this from the top of my head now.
They're pants, yeah.
They're pants. The whole look is really, it's kind of a festering look. I love it.
Thank you.
And then you've got reverbnation.com/Julia Grayling, and your website doesn't have any information on it unless I'm not finding it. Your website just links to all of the sites, right?
Yeah, it's just a direct link to all of my social media. So it's just juliagrayling.com.
Yeah, just go to juliagrayling.com. What I was going to say before I digressed about your clothes is that, of course, on our podcast page, on our website, you'll see Julia's photo. You got to see this photo. It's my favorite photo. And underneath it, there's a direct link to everything. Listen to the show and then go to that page. Julia, I love your music. I just really wanted people to get to know your music. And I love chatting with you. You're just so honest and so easy to talk to. My God. Julia Grayling, every success to you. I want you to keep me up to date on everything you're doing so I'll share it with my audience.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much and feel better.
Thank you for having me.
Too sweet to write about, and God knows I am inspired most when I'm hurting. Wasted lyrics, wasted time. Too long before we're making out.